Hello! I kind of want to do a making of video, just in case any of you were wondering how these videos are made, or if you're thinking about doing a similar thing for yourself. So basically I'm going to go through what I just did, or what I'm going to do for the Tesuji Set number 10. I have not done it yet. I will be doing it live right here, and then I'll splice this video up to kind of take out some of the dead and repetitive things that I do. But to start off, if you're going to make videos like this, problem-wise, or even just Go gameplay videos, I use a similar technique for the Go gameplay videos. I may include a little bit of that at the end of this one, just to kind of show how the approach is slightly different, but pretty much the same. The first thing I would recommend if you're going to do this is to make a template. What is a template? A template is just a generic project or setup that I can start from and then quickly import all the new data specific to the video. Now I'll show you my little template here. I have this one, and all the template is and how I made it. I made the template first by making a video. So the first one you're going to do will not have a template. You will use that first one as a template for the rest of them. And so what's in this template? Right now this template has 5 layers or 6 layers. It has the outro, which I pre-rendered and already set up in a different video. I won't go over that in this one. But the template has the corrected version of my outro. I don't know why I'm pointing at the screen. You can't really see it. I have to use the mouse. And then in the template, I've also got 7 text blocks right here. One for each of the prompts, plus a thank you message at the end. This is the picture of the book, which again is just part of my template. And then the startings of the video itself right here. This is just the 2 tracks where the video is going to go. So now what I'm going to do is take this template, and the way I created this template, again, I made the first video, and then to save it as a template, you got to save it under its own kind of project. As you can see up on top here, the project is just Tesuji. But to then make it into the specific video, you take this project, you save it as, let's see, this is number 10. So you take the template, you save it as a different project altogether, and by doing that, it will keep your template separate, and now you're working on your own project specific for this video. And so if you're here, from here, I'm going to take the video portion of the Tesuji and stick it on this lower track here, which is where the video goes. And this one's slightly different than my original ones because I have Tesuji audio, which I'll go over in a sec how to do that. So right now, as you can see, there isn't any sound, and actually, once I line up the audio with the Audacity one, I will be getting rid of this because right now it's just a couple ticks here, which is where stones are played that weren't originally on the SGF. But another thing I would recommend if you're using some sort of video editing software is to it's another form of template, I guess. And what I mean by that is there are 2 things you could do with this video. I take this generic video from recording on my desktop, and I crop it down to the part I want, and then I position it where I want. And right now I have the same position, same template, same cropping as all the other videos. And the reason I can do that without looking up the values is because I save the profile or the template. So first I am going to use this button, which is to crop. And again, this is the full screen. Now I already have presets on here, and I just go down to Tesuji. And so it adjusts the center and the cropping to the lower section of the board that I like for the Tesuji videos. And so I'll close out of that. And so now only the lower part of the board is shown, not the rest of it, the rest of my screen, which is not important for the videos. And then I will do what's called track motion, and this is how you move the videos and resize them within this stuff, within your project. And again, I have a template set up for that, and all it does is it takes that big image up here and moves it down to the lower left. So hey, say hi to YouTube.
Hi YouTube.
And so now that the board is in the right place, now we gotta go get the audio so that I know where the problems start and how it syncs up with what I got. So for the audio, again, I'm using Audacity. And for this record, so anyways, I'll zoom out a little bit. So this is the whole track. This 3-2-1 is actually the 3-2-1 clap starts about right here. All right, so now we're gonna should probably have this in so I can actually hear what I'm doing. Let's see, I think it starts on this one. Right here. So I gotta do it again. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so I messed up the first time, that's why there's 2 claps. But anyway, so I need to take this audio and get it to the other one. And so all I do is I go in here, I save as a wave. This is one thing I gotta fix in the template, I haven't done it yet. I actually need to add another line for the audio, because this template's from before I did the audio splitting. So now we get to line up the 3, 2, 1, go, which is somewhere in here. So now that I got that, I am going to combine these 2 together so that when I cut the audios and stuff, they'll keep together. So I'm going to group them, and then actually I'm going to ungroup this part of it. Remove from and delete. So now these 2 will move together. I'm actually going to move the audio up one. So if that's done, now we're going to start lining up the text with where they are in the problem themselves. Oh, it looks like my track did not hold. Okay, so there we go. And now for lining up the text, I want to make sure that the text doesn't go beyond this when I enter it. So I'm going to find out where the first one is, and then I'll show you how to edit the text. The other 5 or 6 are identical, so I'll cut this part out. So now that I said 118, I'm going to line up the text with this and edit. Problem number 118. Now I like, for these parts and the explanations, I do it word for whatever the book says, just to give full accreditation. And according to this one, it just says black to capture 5 white stones. And that's all it says for the problem. And with that, I will move this over slightly. And so there's that. Okay, so now that that is all done, all I did was line up the text with that and word for word what it is from the book and stuff like that. I trimmed off the end, made the thank you go out to the end. So now that that's done, I am going to take the picture of the book and extend it to the full length. So now that appears in the right spot, filling in the rest of the black void. And the last thing I gotta do really is just to line up, line up the outro video with the end here, and so now it should transition. And I didn't do this on purpose, but apparently the 10 or 15 seconds of my thanks so much for watching stuff is almost perfect for lining up with the start of the music. See you guys in the next video, and boom, it starts, it drops. From there, that's basically it. All that's left is rendering, which I just save it. Let's see, this is number 10. Select folder. Actually, I want advanced options. So video 10. I just 120 by 720. That's what XSplit is recording at, so there's no sense really going above that. Click render. Now the rendering, just since I've overclocked and overclocking really did help with this rendering time. I accidentally reset the BIOS one time, which meant that the clock, or the overclock was reset, so it went back down to factory defaults again. And just for where this is at, it takes about half the time of the video to render it, no matter what I'm doing. If it's a Go gameplay video or one like this, which is why it's only going to be 2 minutes and 30 seconds, even though it's an over 4 minute video, it's about half. When I went back to factory settings, it was almost 1-to-1. So that extra I think I got 1.3 extra gigahertz out of it. Helps with the rendering time tremendously, because you got to figure that it's 1.3 gigahertz per core times 6 cores times 2 threads per core, so 12 threads are getting an extra 1300 megahertz out of it. So that's why the rendering time's down. On these specific videos, I don't have thumbnails. I figured that wherever the random part is in there lines up decent, that it's, you know what it is, and it's kind of eye-catching, so I just leave it alone. On the Go gameplay videos, I do have a thumbnail, and if I do a vlog or whatever on that, I'll go over that as well. So yeah, things to remember if you're doing a series or some sort of video like that, have a template. The video editing software has tools for you to utilize, like the track motion saved profiles, as well as the cropping profiles. If you know that you're going to only want a certain part of the board and you always want to do that, when you get it set up the first time, just save the profile, and then you don't have to fiddle with it next time. Not to mention it's also in the same spot every time, so it's consistent, which is a good thing. Oh, and then one more thing to remember. save often, save before you render in case you have issues like that, because I lost all the work I just did. And then one other thing, just kind of a tip, if you're going to be doing any cropping or track motion, things like that, do it to the whole line first and then do the splicing. Otherwise, when you go back and edit and do the cropping, you're going to have to do it to every single track, like I just had to do because I was being silly. And then it's just a matter of uploading. I typically borrow from the previous formats by just copy pasting it, changing whatever description I need. Same with the description. Copy paste that, change as needed. This one's going to be scheduled for next Saturday. And then it's just a matter of publishing it. And once it's done uploading and processing, then I add the annotation subscription, and yeah, that's about it. So lessons for the wise: if you're planning to do any sort of video editing like this, use templates. Templates save a lot of time in setup and prep work. You only have to set them up once, so it is kind of it's a front-loaded time cost, but compared to doing them for every video, it's just so much better just to use a template. To save often, it really kind of sucks to have to go back and do the whole video like I just did, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes errors happen and the program crashes. So frequently, save often, and for sure save before you start rendering. As far as rendering goes, the more threads and processor speed you have, the better. Megahertz core clock is king as far as that goes, saving time on that. Oh, and then I'm still trying to figure out that Audible thing. That was kind of a pain. So if you're familiar with Audible and you can tell me how to fix the peaks, because if you look at this, there is no peaks, even though I am talking in here. For editing it again, I don't know why it was worse the second time, but I basically had to do it by sound because I had no idea. Unless that's the program itself, because there's no peaks in this one either, and that one usually has some. In fact, let me try closing this and restarting the program. Oh yeah, if I forgot to mention, this was Movie Studio Platinum number 13. This is that free edition that I got, or not free edition, the discounted edition I got from Steam itself. And if you have Steam and you are a gamer like that, and you share libraries with people, this program does not count as a game, so you can actually play this program even though your friends may be playing one of your games in your library or something like that. It doesn't conflict with that, which is really nice. Looks like it's just that format. Okay, what about dumping in the WAV file? Does that... Okay, so it must have, I don't know, something happened with that project, because now I see peaks just fine. They're not they're not highly defined like the XSplit one is, because I did a noise reduction on it. But okay, so it looks like there's just something wrong with that project, so well, it is what it is. So yeah, that's a little behind the scenes, I guess, of the Get Strong at Tesuji series. Like I said, the Go gameplay videos are very similar. The only difference is that the outro, I have a template for the outro that changes with every one of them, whereas the Go gameplay video itself is just crop and split where I need to, and then attach the outro video into it. With the outro video, I can just show you that quick. I actually... as far as the outro video goes, I've got a template going on this, so when it comes to the problems, I just go in here and this is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 counter right here, and then I have the board game positions. It's just a screenshot basically, and actually it's broken right now. I have to, since I had to reinstall my operating system, I need to transfer over the templates, and that's just as simple as opening up a previous project and saving the templates. I have to do that yet, but anyway, so it has all the text on here, and the only thing that really changes from the outro problems is the screenshots down there, and maybe the text here. So yeah, like I said, this is broken, but from there, I take the outro, I render it so that it's an MP4, and then I go to the gameplay video. I take that movie or that video and put it into the gameplay video after splicing and cropping it, and then render the whole thing together. This two-part thing really saves me a lot of time, so I don't have to deal with this thing right here. It's just a black or a gray line, and what that is, if we zoom in, is actually the frame-by-frame of the animation that my wife did for me, of my hair fluttering in the wind, I guess. So yeah, and then with the background stuff. So it condenses this down and makes the Go Gameplay video outros a lot easier to manage by rendering it separately and then just importing it. Yeah, I think that's about it. If you guys like this video and like seeing the behind the scenes, well, they're pretty much all the same, I guess. But if I don't know, maybe tips and tricks and stuff like that as I learn. If you guys like this thing, let me know. I'll do a couple more, I guess, or some other stuff that I think of related to Go in general. So, yeah, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.